Hi everybody, 7th of November, another day in my daily diaries of how I'm now coping after I lost my wife due to Parkinson's. As you can probably tell, I'm a lot better now. Still not over it, still dragging this man flu on, but I'll soldier on with it. I won't complain, I'll just get on with it, you know what I mean? It's hard to explain, especially to you. I mean, it's no point in me going on about it because you would never understand what it's like anyway, this man flu, so I'll not go on about it. I'll just keep going on and I'll get by. Yeah, so I'm not too bad. I've not gone out again today. I stayed in bed, again, kept getting up and having a hot water with honey and slices of lemon in it, and then like a hot tea. I'd caught, a lot of hot drinks during the day. And I got up about 1 o'clock, something like that. Just because I was fed up, I couldn't lie in bed anymore. I've just lounged about in my dressing gown all day though, and just went on computer, just checking a few emails, caught up with a few bits, and I've just got out of bed and got out of the shower now, and I've actually got dressed. I shouldn't have done really. I should have just put my loungers back on because I'll do that anyway. I'll have my tea. I'm having one of my homemade soups, my chunky veg soup for my tea. It's already in the pan, ready to go in a minute. But during the night last night, I couldn't sleep. Probably because I was all the rest I did yesterday, but it was like, wake up, mate, turn over, wake up, turn over, lean on your back, lie on your front. I got up at one point at 5:15 this morning. I'm writing Christmas cards out on the table here in the dining room. Writing them all out. Good job I did really, because I've missed a couple. Well, I've missed quite a few, so I wrote a list. I thought if I go out today, I was going to get them, but I didn't go, so I'll get them tomorrow at some point, or even Sunday. There's no great rush, but so I'm glad I did. But like 5:15 it was, but while I'm sat there writing them out, and I'm signing them all from like Nan and Grandad and Angie and Mike. I didn't just sign them all from me. I've got Angie one. I've not filled that in yet. And I've got the card that she got me last Christmas, but she never filled it in. She came in the card shop with me, and I pointed in the right direction. She picked it, and then as Christmas come, close by, and I came in, there's your card, don't forget to sign it. But remember, her handwriting went as well, so she never filled it in. Anyway, so I'm going to put that up, even though it's blank. I'm not going to fill it in. I'm just going to keep putting it up blank. And I'll put mine up to hers. But it's like I was thinking, it's the loneliness and the deathly quiet. I don't just mean at 5:30 in the morning. I mean, in general, when you just feel empty and lost. When you think, how long is this going to go on? And it's like, you think, I can just about carry the grief, but then the loneliness is something else. I can carry the grief along, and it's the loneliness and the deathly quiet. It's hard to explain unless you've been there, and I hope you don't get there. So it's hard to explain exactly what I'm meaning. You can carry the grief and that, and it's because like you're still committed to your marriage. That's what it is. You don't know how to change it. Not that I'm rushing to change it, but like I make contacts with a few people, especially on this TikTok and what have you now. A lot of followers are like conversating with me now and wishing me well, and why don't you do this and do that, so I'm making a few more contacts with people and try to make new friends and that, and and it feels good. But then later on, the feel good and the guilt collide. Again, it's a proper roller coaster. You can't understand what goes on. I keep looking at the picture here on the dining table. I keep chatting to her. I've not chatted to her much for the last couple of days because I should have just told me, get on with it, the man flu. You know, man, having said that, I don't suffer usually with the ailments and flus and colds, so it is a one-off. She probably would have fussed me with it being a one-off, and you know, can't remember the last time I was even feeling ill in any way, shape or form. So she'd have probably been fussing around me. Here, get some more of this, do some of that. I'll go and get you some of that, and this, that, and the other, and stay in bed, and you know, because that's what she'd have done. Yeah, I've asked. I mean, about I'm asked. I didn't get out to meet Angie's sister again today. I got a text off them anyway this morning. Said they weren't going into Cleveland, they was actually going into Blackpool. You know, so can we meet in Blackpool instead? You know, and I would have done, but I just text back and I said, well, not really, I'm going to stay in, just ride off this bug. You know, I don't want to be ill over the weekend, you know, and into next week with it. So, yeah, that my homemade soup will do, because I've got chilies in it and all sorts now. So I'll put bit more on, some black pepper, and make it a bit spicier for me tea. Again, with a couple of cobs. They are cobs, what you dip in your soup. Yeah. Somebody commented the other day. So yeah, they are cobs. I've been trying to think of some stories and all. I've got a few things in my head of some funny, some not so funny, some like, you know, like I told you, like how caring she was and stuff like that. And but there's one that sprung to mind when I was flicking through some photos on computer, or some old pictures, and there's a picture of her stood with David Guest. You remember David Guest? He was actually married to Liza Minnelli, the record producer from about 60s and 70s. Did a lot with Michael Jackson and that sort of stuff. He had a good spell on TV and all sorts. A bit weird. I think he'd had too much work done on his face, and everything was like this all the time. Dyed jet black hair, you know, on his beard, and it just looked odd. A very clever fella and very wealthy fella, and he did he had a lot of around the UK. He was on Celebrity Big Brother at one point, if you remember him there. And anyway, so what I'm getting at is he did a tour of a lot of like 70s acts like Dorothy Moore and Frida Payne, the 3 Degrees, Stylistics, quite a few of them. And they'd go from like town to town, you know, just billed as David Guest on tour with supporting, and named them all. Of course, Angie managed to get tickets. I don't know where they was, probably at Blackpool. We didn't live up here then, but probably Blackpool, I think. Anyway, she got a couple of tickets, and she liked him. She you know, because he did come across well, even though he was a bit weird looking. He was a likeable fella. Anyway, so she got these tickets. And of course, wherever they was, it don't matter where they was, because Angie scans the place, and if there's two empty seats further down for more than sort of 15, 20 minutes, then that's where Angie goes and sits. So at the interval, they gets up and right by the side of the stage door. So she ends up sneaking through the side stage door. And they're all stood behind her. You've got Frida Payne, Sheila Ferguson out of 3 Degrees, David Guest, Dorothy Moore, a couple of Stylistics. There's a big bunch of them all chatting. Of course, Angie just walked straight up. Hi. And they all went, hi, how you doing? And all just started chatting to her. And just chatting away. And her sister, I think Marilyn was with her, I think it was. And just sort of stayed as though they're all talking to Angie as though she was part of the, you know, the group, the entourage or anything. And at some point she said to somebody, I think Dorothy Moore, here, just take my picture, please. And there's a picture of her and David Guest. And Dorothy Moore taking the picture and giving her a phone back. You know, so that's another like kind of person she was. She could get where water couldn't. You know, in every way, shape and form, whether she's she's trying to chase up, bringing a fella back from Malta, or getting behind the stage, you know, at the Opera House or wherever it was in Blackpool and meeting with the stars. Yeah, so that made me chuckle. It did, that made me chuckle. So I've asked some of grandkids, you know, the older grandkids, not some of them, I've asked them all to let me know of any stories that they've got, you know, from when they were growing up. You know, laughable ones, good ones, you know, what she were like and everything. So could there be some stories that they come up with that I don't know of? You know, I must have a million in my head, but right now I can't process any of them properly. So I'm clutching at straws really. But as I get more into this and get my mind thinking more about it, I'll drag some more stories forward. You know, but I thought you'd like that one about Angie and David Guest. The next sort of collage you ever do with a few pictures and put a song to it, I'll throw the picture in with her and David Guest. So unless you've seen this video tonight and you watch it and you think, the bloody hell's that? Mixed in with all these sad photos, you know, but that'll be my little joke. So yeah, so I'm all right now. I said I was a bit down, you know, but I think anybody would be a bit down at 5:30 in the morning. But you're just trying to process it. That's what I kept thinking. You know, it's like I said to myself, I can carry the guilt, the grief, you know, but it's the loneliness and the quietness that's harder for me anyway. You know, the grief just follows you around, you know, and you just learn to cope with it in your own way. But the loneliness and the quietness just forgets you all of a sudden it hits your side on, bump, and it just hits you out of the blue. And it's such a big thud. That's the hard bit. Right, I'm not going back over that. I was like trying to finish on a bit of a positive note with Angie and David Guest. And so, yeah, as per usual, I'm going to go and do another one tomorrow. So please press your like buttons, press your follow me buttons, forward these videos on, and do what needs to be done. Let's see if I can help some other people as well as helping myself, doing all this chatting out loud. All right, so I shall do one tomorrow. Bye now. You take care now. Bye.